Charles, thank you very much for coming on the show, dude. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Now
Excited.
it's awesome. Now for someone who is also very very young, I think you might even be like a year younger than me. You're like 24, 25.
Yeah, I'm 24. I'll be
Yeah,
25 in October.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 25. I'm turning 26 in a couple of weeks. It's really fascinating to kind of see your journey and where you've come from, because I feel like you've been on the reflected end of things over in America. Now, obviously, you started off and kind of got into it through kind of like college football training, that sort of stuff. That's what kind of first got you into training, correct?
Yeah, high school football to be specific, but yeah, that's what got me into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of where you call the bug, and I think it's really interesting because I think being in that environment, it's a really, really, really interesting dynamic, especially for a young man. So I'm interested to hop off when you first kind of got into training. Was there a particular lift that you were just like straight off the bat, everything worked really, really well? Were you kind of like, I mean, for myself, I had to grind for a long time in the gym before anything kind of became second nature. So I'm interested to see, did you kind of pick anything up straight off the bat, or was everything a kind of slow work in progress for you?
Uh, I think straight off the bat, squat and bench were going well, like especially squats. Obviously that's like my best and my favorite lift. But like back in football, like we cared about bench, we cared about squats, we cared about like power clean, like those big movements. We didn't care so much about deadlift. So I didn't care about deadlift either. So whenever I started doing powerlifting, deadlift was the one that struggled the most out of all three because I wasn't as serious about getting my deadlift up whenever in my past before powerlifting. So like coming into powerlifting, my bench was already pretty damn good. My squat was already really damn good. But then my deadlift was work, man. I really had to work every now and up. But yeah, right off the bat, like squat and bench were easy. The only big thing with squat though was I had to like completely change my technique. Because like in football, I was doing like high bar squats, and I still kind of do a fairly like high bar placement on my back. But my coaches and like my team members like had me do that transition from a high bar to a low bar, and that was definitely something that I wasn't used to. But I listened to my coaches, and it ended up being more beneficial for me because my squat numbers went up a little bit more. But like get like squatting down to like competition standards for powerlifting was like completely different from like what it was in football. Because like whenever I went to the first tryouts, man, for powerlifting, I felt like I was going to ask the grass, and then they're like, nah. Like that's still high. They're like, yo, you're strong, but that's not that. I was
Yeah,
like, what?
you got to come down like this much more, man.
Yeah, I was like, yo, my butt is hitting my calves. I don't know what else you want me to do.
Like, I've got nowhere else to go, man. Come on, dude, help me out here.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
technique was the biggest thing I had to adjust for squat, but the strength was there from day one. Like
Yeah,
no problem.
that's really interesting. So obviously, like the dynamic when you're in that environment, I think it's different for everyone, and everyone kind of responds differently to it. So like when you were in that environment, when you were training, for football, not even necessarily powerlifting, were you someone that loved the gym? Were you someone that just it came naturally to you? You felt really comfortable there. It was a place that you wanted to be, or was it somewhere that you kind of uh, originally you kind of had to grow to love it? Because I know for some people, like some people are just hungry 24/7 and they just go go go. And for some people, they take a little bit of time to kind of they've got to catch that flavor. They've got to enjoy it. They see the benefit. Maybe they start looking a little bit better. They feel a bit sexy. The numbers start going up, and that's kind of how they get involved. So where were you at with everything when you first jumped on board?
For me, man, I was hungry. Like I loved it right off the bat. So like it was one of those things like for me, like whenever I do something, I have to excel at it. Like that's just kind of like my personality. So like whenever I started playing football, this is like going way back to like seventh grade, back in like middle school and stuff. But for football, you start in the off season. Off season is like no like nothing out on the field. It's just like weights and track, right? So you got to kind of like prove yourself to the coaches that you want to be on the team, you want to be a starter or whatever. So it all starts like in the weight room, like how hard you work in the weight room, how hard you push yourself, and the intensity is gonna be like what impresses the coaches to like make them want to give you a chance on the field. So right off the bat, man, like whenever I stepped in the weight room, like this was serious work. Like I wasn't messing around. And also like I also had a lot to prove for me personally because like I was one of the undersized guys on the team because I mean in football everybody's like freaking 6 foot whatever crazy, right? So I was one of the undersized guys on the team, so I was like, yo, I don't care, like you guys might be bigger than me, but like yo, I want to be stronger than you. So I always took my training very very seriously, so I always had a passion for it. It was one of those things I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the best, like in the weight room, on the field, like it doesn't matter, like I'm gonna be the best regardless. So like I was working for like since day one, trying to like get my weight up on everything across the board.
Yeah, that's
So
sick, man.
that is
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and it's just one of those things. It's like it's that extra bit of like competition, like that inter-team competition is such an interesting dynamic because obviously like you all want each other to excel, but at the same time you're like, man, fuck you, I want to beat you, I want to make sure I got 10 kilos on you on this press, on this lift, on whatever. It's so funny. Like I think back to it now, it's the exact same thing like in the rugby weights room, running laps or whatever. You got like people that just chatting shit the whole time, trying to get into each other's heads. But it's wicked, man, because I think it sets you up for later on, like when you're in those competitions, when you're in those tight squeezes, when you're stressed out. It's like, oh no, man, I've spent my whole life doing this, like it's all good.
exactly like I don't get rattled at all at competitions. I'm like, yo, this is like pressure is nothing.
Yeah,
It's like I do better when there's more pressure around me. It's like I step up to like the competition, or I like I try to set the bar or whatever. But like yeah, I've never been one of those that I'm like, oh, I slide down from competition because this person is stronger or whatever. It's like I think you're stronger than me right now, but what? Let's see what happens on meet day. Like let's see what happens.
it's
So I'm
that
always
legend killer mentality, isn't it? Like it doesn't matter because on the day, like we'll see.
yeah man. So
I love
that's
that,
just
and
me.
it reflects in your lifting as well. Like I absolutely love it, man. Like when you step out and you just have that confidence, and you just have like just that calm nature about you, and I think it carries over. Like I'm 100% certain that like when you build up that confidence in your head, and in and of yourself, like there's no way that I'm not lifting this. Like
Yep.
when you have that mentality, man, and like you can just see it as soon as you step out to the platform, and like even the commentators that talk about, they're like, "Oh man, he's looking really comfortable today." You're like, "Yeah, dude, it just literally looks like you're just rocking up for a warm up." It's so
Yeah.
sick. I love that. So
Yeah.
how long has that kind of been implemented in you? Were you someone that was like you always had that self confidence? You were always there backing yourself from day one, or again, is this something that you've learned maybe like first couple competitions, it was a bit of a tough time for you, and you've kind of adapted over the time?
Mm. So I've definitely had it since powerlifting started. I developed it in football. So like probably like whenever I started off in middle school and stuff like that, I probably had to like develop it over those few years. But by the time I got to like high school and stuff like that, my confidence in the weight room was already like at an all time high because um, despite my size being one of the smaller guys, I always had like strength to like back me up. So like I was always known as like the small, strong like black dude or whatever. Like that was always I always, like, oh, do you know Charles? Like, wait, who's Charles? The short, swole black dude. I'm like, oh yeah, I know Charles. Yeah, so, like, I had always kind of had that about me, knowing that I was strong. Because not only because I knew, because everybody else around me knew it too. So like whenever I started doing powerlifting and stuff like that, whenever I went to go try out, like it wasn't a tryout because I was like I knew I was gonna make the team. Like I wasn't like you know so like whenever I saw what the American records were in powerlifting and stuff like that, I was like, oh okay. I was like, cool, like no problem. I'll go beat whoever's at the top. So I've always had that confidence in the body that like no matter who it is, like I'm gonna beat them. So it's definitely a mentality that I think I developed like at a very very young age. So like I just kind of have like supreme confidence in myself and just about everything that I do.
That's
So,
sick, man. That's sick. And like you said, it kind of carries over to everything as well. And I speak about this to so many people, like the kind of like that mental foundation, like the mentality that you build up in the gym. It's so easy to carry that over to anything that you do in real life. Whether it's business or whether it's like your relationships, kind of the whole idea of kind of working at something, perfecting your craft over and over and over again until you are the best version of that. I think
Mm-hmm.
is something that I don't think any other kind of like quote unquote like hobby or sport kind of really gives you that structure. And again, I think because you have to go through so many hardships,
Yeah, you do.
it really builds a really interesting foundation. So again, hopping off on that, like I'm really interested to kind of get into that with you. Kind of obviously coming from football, moving into powerlifting, much like with myself going from kind of rugby, athletics, and then strongman. Being in that heavy team dynamic and having all of your brothers in iron around you, just training, grafting hard every single day, putting in that effort, and then when you come out of that team environment and it's like, oh, okay, man, like the only person that needs to go to the gym today is me, and I'm training by myself. And no other motherfuckers are going to be there that I know, and I've got to get this session done. That dynamic, I think, is like such a strange transition. So, how did you find that? Did you just kind of like fall into a group of lifters straight away and like everything was fine because you had like your mini group, or were you kind of, you know, like I did for a couple of years and you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go at this by myself until I kind of find my crew?
All right, so it was kind of like there's been kind of two or maybe three stages in my life whenever I felt like that. Um, First one was like right when football was over. You didn't have to go to the team workouts anymore and stuff like that. So that was over with. So I was like, well, shoot, do I want to keep working out? Like I was like, I'm done with sports. But again, it was just one of those things that like it was a passion of mine. So I would just find time to go work out either by myself or hit up some friends like, yo, let's go like get a quick workout in. So I definitely do not prefer to work out alone, except on like certain days, like if I just want to focus and get my shit done. But like besides that, like it's also like a social thing. Like it's a way of like building relationships and stuff like that. So I definitely enjoy working out with other people, and you can kind of feed and vibe off of each other. And I especially love training with people that are stronger than me, because then I get to push myself a little harder. Because like again, going back to that football background, man, like I was always one of the smallest guys on the team. So there's a lot of big motherfuckers walking around that was just strong as shit. Especially like whenever I was an underclassman, and then the bigger upperclassmen were all bigger and stronger. So I would want to work out with the stronger guys. I'm like, okay, so if I know I'm supposed to do like let's say 300 on squats for my workout that day, but then like the person I'm working out with is doing like 315, I'm like, I bet leave the weight on the bar. I'm push myself. I got it. Don't worry. So like that being able to do that is really only possible whenever you're working out with other people, because then it kind of forces you to grow and push yourself a little harder to get outside of your comfort zone. It's easier to stay within your comfort zone whenever you're working out by yourself. So those are kind of some of the pros and cons with working out with other people. But then the other time that I really had to go through that was like after college, once I was doing powerlifting. Um, you know, Again, it's like I'm done with collegiate, but obviously I was still like competing on the international level on the national team. But like I didn't have to go to team practices anymore and stuff like that. But I stayed in Austin after I graduated, so like, I still try to make it to like team practices every now and then. But like I kind of already had like my friends that I would at least be able to work out with. But it's still a little different because I would still want to go to the team practices because like just because the energy is dope. I'm like, yo, I want to feed off everybody. I want to like, you know, encourage and like give other people like the new kids like something like to like strive towards and stuff like that. So and then like once I moved away from Austin, now I'm in Fort Worth. You know, like to find a new gym, especially whenever you find a new gym, you don't know anybody in there. It's like you're basically gonna be working out by yourself for a little bit until you kind of like click with some people and like form some friend groups. So now like I still kind of like don't really focus on my workout schedule around specific people, but I'm always like in a better mood whenever there's other people there that can like that I vibe with and that I can work out with. Especially if they're stronger, because then we can kind of push each other and kind of have a good time in the weight room. But it's definitely like a different mentality. Like I feel like I'm able to work harder. Definitely fuck around a little bit more whenever there's other people, but I feel like I can work harder. So it's definitely something that I prefer to do more so than like just working out by myself. But then it can be dull, kind of like take some of the fun out of it a little bit. It's like it's you versus the weights, but at the same time, there's still like a there's a social and a team aspect that can definitely benefit from like whenever you're in the weight room.
Yeah, I
For
think you
sure.
kind of have to like you have to kind of hack your own brain as well, don't you? Because like as much as all of us kind of say like we're not trying to fucking show off, we're here, we're just trying to do our numbers. It's that whole thing. It's like it's not showing off. I don't even know what it is, but when you're training with someone else and you're like, right, man, well, I gotta fucking do it now because I don't want to look like a dick in front of my mates. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that whole thing of like, okay, I'm programmed to do it anyway. I'm gonna lift it regardless, but there's no way I can fuck it up now. Like
Mm-hmm.
because I gotta wear that on my sleeve. I'm with all my guys here. Like I gotta make it look good. I gotta make it look strong. And I think like if you can get into your head and you can kind of trick yourself like that, it's like cool, man. Like it doesn't even matter. Like even if it is like a little bit of vanity, it's I think whatever you can do mentally to get that extra. Even dude, like at your level, it's like what, like 2-3%. Like obviously the margins are so small when you're working with such freaking big numbers, dude.
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. Like, because again, a lot of this sport is mental, man. So like, whatever you can do to like give yourself that extra edge, that extra push, you know, do it, man. Like, and again, some people can do it by themselves. Others kind of require like a team around them to like do it. But I definitely feel like I get a little extra like energy and like more excitement whenever there's other people around me to like see it. Because then it's like I know I got to put on the show, so it's like yo, don't fuck it up and make
Yeah,
it look fast. So it's it's a win-win, man.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Like again, like if it's good and you know when to use it and you're not being a dick with it and you're not just trying to flex for some thirsty chicks in their gyms, you know what I mean? Like it's different. You
Mm-hmm.
have to understand when to utilize that sort of stuff, and you also have to understand like okay, maybe this isn't the time, maybe this isn't the place, and maybe this isn't the lift. Like, well, I think the longer you train, like for you or I, when we're doing this for so long, it's like okay, you understand that, you know where your body's at, but then also equally you're like, okay, let's put on the show for these people, man. Let's go, let's boogie. Phones out, let's get it on the gram.
Exactly, man.
Oh, it's so funny. So I'm interested to kind of get into how you kind of juggle everything. So am I right in saying, are you still studying now, or have you finished your studies?
Now I'm still studying. I'm about to wrap up this semester in a week, but I'm studying physical therapy right now in forward.
Yeah, so I'm interested to get into that because, dude, if you just take the powerlifting and the time, the dedication, the focus, the attention, that's a full-time job in my eyes, regardless. On top of that, actually doing your studies, doing well and excelling, that in and of itself is also a full-time fucking job. And then having some form of social life, so you see your friends, having relationship, whether it's with your family, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever, like how the hell do you juggle all of this shit, man?
Man, it's definitely like knowing when to prioritize certain things, man. Like, um, I've kind of gotten used to it because I've always been like good about kind of managing my time and like don't want to prioritize like certain things. Like starting from middle school, actually shoot, all my life to be honest. Like I've always been involved in sports. I've always excelled academically. I've always had a social life. I'm a very outgoing person. So I'm definitely not one of those that just goes to like, school and then like goes home and like play video game all day. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not me.
Yeah.
So I've always been good about, going to school, getting my work done so that I can go out and enjoy myself and do other things that I enjoy and I want to do. So, it's definitely like knowing when to like, prioritize certain things and focus on this, focus on what's more important at the moment. So that way, it opens up your schedule at other times to do other things that you enjoy. So like for me right now with, PT school, typically most of my classes are, from like 9 a.m. in the morning to about 4 in the afternoon with like maybe like a little hour break in between for lunch. But like whenever I'm on campus or I'm like taking classes or whatever, that's my focus at the time. And then like typically after that, I'll go to the gym like right after, like between like 4:30 to like maybe 7:30, like because the drive, the workout, just putting on your knee sleeves like a good 15. There's a lot of time that goes into like powerlifting. It's definitely like a part-time job. It's like it takes up like 4 hours a day whenever I do train. So on those days I do train, I don't get as much study time. But then on my off days, then I can like study a little bit more on my off days. So it's kind of like picking and choosing what you want to prioritize on certain days. So, and then on the weekend, I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna prioritize my social life on the weekend a little bit more, unless I have a test coming up on Monday. But it's definitely kind of knowing like where you can like devote a little bit more time, and then knowing where you need to back off. So like I'm pretty good about like being very organized in my schedule. So like if I know I have like big family or friend events coming up, I'm gonna make sure I get all my shit done so that I can go to that. Rather than being carefree and careless, and then there's something going on. It's like, oh shit, I got a test to study for. Like, no, that really doesn't happen, because if I know there's something coming up, I'll make sure I study ahead of time so I'm good to go. So I've always been like a responsible person when it comes to like just like kind of like getting shit done, because like I said, I like to excel in everything that I do. So I found my little strategies that I can incorporate to make sure that I'm able to do so, and live a full like well-rounded life. So
Yeah, I love that, and I think it's all too often you find, especially in kind of strength sports, is that you have kind of it's like that one trick pony mentality, isn't it? It's like, I'm big, I'm strong, and I'm gonna do big and strong things, and it's like, yeah, okay, dude. So, but what are you gonna do afterwards? Well, I'm gonna be big and strong. Yeah, yeah, okay, but what are you gonna do after you're big and strong? It's like, oh well, don't really know. You're like, okay, well, you're fucked then, aren't you?
it'll last forever, man.
Exactly.
Like
So
we're all
I
human.
think it's smart. I think
Yeah.
it's really really smart, and the fact that you're so you're so driven to the fact that everything takes 100% of your attention, and I think again it's one of those things that a lot of people, if they're in the position that you're in, you're literally a world class fucking powerlifter. There is pretty much no one on the face of the earth that's in your class that is better than you. To have that and then to do all of your other things on top of it, like, I think a lot of people don't understand kind of just how much that takes, and to be able to kind of sit back and say, okay, well, although I've got all of this other shit in my life also needs attention as well. And I think that's probably where a lot of people that are in the position that you're in, like for a young dude, like that's such a awesome mentality that you have. Like, there are so many people that must have been the same age as you that have just fucked everything else off, suck off the studies, just train, get big, eat, live, breathe the gym, and it's like, again, okay, dude, but what are you going to do afterwards? Like, I love that you're thinking about that. So I want to go back, because obviously you've put in a heck of a lot of groundwork with your lifting and stuff, and I'm interested to see, like, were there ever any times like where you had to face adversity, whether it was like your parents being like, okay, Charles, maybe you don't need to be spending these 4 hours in the gym today, like maybe you do need to be studying for this test or this exam, or like, or maybe a girlfriend or family or whatever it might be. Did you ever have to go through any of that? Because I know obviously through the young age that you started training and everything that you've done, there's a hell of a lot of social pressure on young kids. So obviously to have all of that on top of what you're trying to do, it's pretty taxing, dude.
So I've definitely faced a good amount of adversity in like at every like stage of my career in powerlifting, and then prior to powerlifting. I started off with like high school, work my way up, but like for me, you know, my parents mainly care about grades. Like my dad wanted me to be a doctor, like so it's like, yo, you gotta make sure you're getting straight A's on everything. But that wasn't a problem, because like that was also an expectation that I had for myself. So I was like, all right, cool, we're on the same page, no problem. But whenever I started playing sports in high school, football, track, whatever, it definitely took away some of the time that I could have been spending on my academics. But I was able to, basically with my parents, it was like one of those things. It was like, yo, as long as I'm making the good grades, they kind of stay off my back. They don't have to tell me, oh, you got to do this, you have to do this, because I'm, again, like I've always been like the independent person. Like I'm like, I don't need anybody to tell me, oh, you need to go make good grades. It's like, I know I got to make good grades. Like, I don't need you to tell me. So um, so as far as like the pressures there, there's always been pressure there, but like I've always been good about managing it. So like I never had to like sacrifice like um, time training or playing sports to go study, because like I was always on top of my shit. So that was good. And then like let's say like college and up, there's definitely been like times whenever there's been like a fun event that some friends are doing or whatever, like maybe a party that would have like conflicted with like a training or a workout. I knew it would fuck up my training the next day. But then, I make the decision. I'm like, either I'm gonna like, so I'm gonna do it like this. I always like again, I always prioritize. So if there's a competition coming up, like within the next month or whatever, then no matter what, training, sleep, recovery, that's my priority. So like, if there's a social event like a party with a fuck ton of drinking or whatever, I'm gonna say like, no, like we can hang out, we can chill like at my place or whatever. But like, do anything that'll compromise, my position or like, lead to me not performing well on meet day, like I'm gonna have to like back off from my stuff like that. Whenever I'm close to a competition. But then, whenever I'm in the off season, I don't have competition coming up for like maybe 6 months. Then, prioritize. Like, then I'm gonna prioritize my social life a little bit more. I'm still gonna get my training in. I'm still gonna get my workouts in. But I don't have to be at my best in the weight room like every single day. So as long as I'm still going into the gym, I'm able to hit what I'm supposed to. Then then we're good. My workouts are still strong, and I'm still enjoying my social life. So it's definitely knowing how to balance those goals, balance the pressures. At the same time, it's like yes, there's always social pressures, always like parental pressure to do X, Y, Z, but you kind of have to be strong in knowing what you have to do and what you want to do. So like I've always been good about that. To be honest, I mean, there's definitely times of weakness. Everybody has times of weakness, but but like I'm a very goal-driven person. So like I know when I can fuck around and when I can't fuck around. So it just really goes back to me knowing when to prioritize certain things. Like that's kind of how I just kind of manage those pressures. And I'm used to pressure, man. I'm cool. I'm cool like a cucumber. I'm cool on the pressure. So it's all good. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, we're good. We're good, man.
yeah. I think it's really interesting because obviously like when you're at that age, it's the whole thing of like everyone wants to be seen at the party, everyone wants to be the cool guy, like, and to be like, oh, it's okay, like you go fuck with that, like I'll be back in a couple months, like I'm just gonna do my thing right now and then we'll get back to that. And I think I know so many people that it's like 16, 17 years of age and alcohol becomes a thing and chicks become a thing, and it's like you don't see them in the weight room anymore, they just fall off the face of the earth, and you're like, the fuck happened, man? It's like, okay, well, your priorities became different, and then it's like, okay, well, you're never coming back. So I think it's really interesting because for like a young dude that's in the position that you're in, there are so many like social blockades that people I don't think kind of comprehend. When you're younger, it's all about partying, it's all about going out, it's all about having a good time, it's all about like just living your youth. And when you're an athlete and you're actually contributing a fuck ton of that time that people would be going out partying, staying in, making sure you're hydrated, making sure that your recovery's on point, making sure that you're eating because you've got a big meet tomorrow, like that changes your dynamic like 100%. And I think when you have that capability to be like, nah, I'm not gonna fuck with that, like it almost becomes like quite rewarding. Like you're almost like, oh no, I don't need that. And then everyone's like, what do you mean? Like, you're not coming? You're like, no, I'm good. And it's like, if you feel good about yourself, you're like, no, I don't need all that shit in my life.
So yeah, I've always been pretty good about like knowing how to manage those like pressures, man. But yeah, like partying is great and all whatever, but it's like it's not going anywhere. It's always gonna be around. So it's definitely like it's sad to see sometimes whenever people can't like
they can't balance.
Like they can't balance. They have like no self control or whatever. Because I mean, especially like being a collegiate lifter, it's college. I've had teammates that have made like terrible decisions. Whenever they know they have a competition coming up, I'm just like, dude. But then for those people, it's like that's why they're not the best. So it's like you get in what you put in. Like you're saying, yeah, it can be very rewarding. Yeah, you're damn right, it's rewarding because I'm the fucking best. I did what I had to do to be the best. Have you seen the Rocky movies and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, if you want to be the best, bro, you gotta work. You gotta make sacrifices, man. So it's like, yo, you gotta, you gotta have to like kind of know like what am I trying to do here? Like what's my goal? Like again, I'm a goal driven person. So whenever I have a goal in mind, if this isn't gonna lead me towards that goal, I'm like, nah, man, like nah, not right now. So like it's definitely I kind of have like blinders sometimes whenever like I know like what I got to focus on at every point in my life. So it's just like you gotta have balance, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like I was speaking to John Say about this on the last episode, and kind of he's saying, it's so funny that people use the term balance, and like I use it and you just use it there. But it's like balance is so individual to every single person. Like your balance is not going out and getting fucked up and making sure you get 8+ hours of sleep and making sure you're hydrated and making sure you're like got adequate carbs and protein. But balance for someone else is like, okay, it's the weekend. I'm gonna go down the pub and get absolutely fucking smashed, have a hangover the next day, eat all this crap food, maybe I'll grab a workout. Like that's balance for them and that's balance for you. Like for you, that's just normal. Like that's your life. But you looking on them, you're like, motherfucker, that ain't balance. And them looking on you, they're like, motherfucker, that ain't balance. It's like, it's so individual to every single person. But like, success leaves clues. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that you are making those sacrifices and you're aware of it and you understand that to be the best, you have to make those sacrifices is so important. And I think for like young people, they have to listen to that because it's like you said, you've seen it, I've seen it. So many guys that fall along the wayside that potentially, like, if they just had that focus, if they just had that support, if they like were just patient with it, could have potentially become some of the greatest athletes in the fucking world. But
Oh yeah,
no one has like they just don't have, like you said, they don't have that what I would call our balance.
mm-hmm. And yeah, and I definitely recognize and acknowledge that balance is different for everybody. Nobody's built the same. So like, but the proof is in like it's in the results. So if somebody is doing something completely different from me, but it works for them, it's like I bet I can tell that it's working for you because I can see the results. I see you're being successful X Y Z. But then if they're like failing everything, having no success, but they're like, oh, but this is what works for me. This is my balance. I'm like, you need to reevaluate and figure out your balance. So it's definitely like it comes down to like the results at the end of the day to me. But yeah, I definitely understand that there's an individualized approach, like everybody, and like how they manage things.
Yeah, it's like it's exactly what you said, isn't it? It's like you get in what you get out what you put in, and it's so true. Again, it's that whole kind of mantra with life. It's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter if you sit on your ass all day and you're fucking wishing that you had all these things. It's like it's not going to come to you. You've got to get out there. You've got to get the boots on the ground, and you've got to make all those things happen to make sure that you get whatever you want, which is exactly what you've done. So I'm interested, like when you're kind of going through all of this, was there anyone that you were kind of like looking up to for inspiration? Was there anyone that you listened to, like whether it's like kind of like a mindset or just literally like people that are in the industry that you kind of really kind of idolized? Was there anyone that was kind of giving you that motivation, kind of helping you get through those tough times?
Yeah. So typically, number one, people that motivate me are my competitors. So whenever I started powerlifting, right away I was like, okay, who's the best right now? All right, cool. That's my biggest motivator because I'm gonna dethrone that motherfucker. So that was like number one every single time. Like whenever for every meet, there's like a target that I gotta go dethrone. Or somebody's head I gotta go take off. So that's always like the one of the biggest things pushing me forward. Like if there's somebody that I feel like has my spot as far as like being the best or whatever, I was like, yo, I gotta go get that, man. Like I was like, I'm not comfortable, right? I don't feel good knowing that there's somebody else that feels like they're stronger than me or better than me whenever I know they're not. It's just we haven't gone head to head yet. So I've always again goal driven, man. That's just me. And then whenever I started powerlifting, it was at the UT powerlifting team, Longhorns, and on that team at the time, we had Ian Bell, Preston Turner. Not sure if you're familiar with both of them, but like those two were big motivators for me because they're kind of like my mentors whenever I started. They knew I had potential, so they poured into me knowledge, coaching, guidance, all that stuff. So watching them and seeing their success, I was like, okay, I want to be on the same level with y'all. Like so, that those on my team, those are big motivators for me. And then like, outside of that, I always kind of like paid attention to like whoever was the best in like whatever weight class. So it's just one of those things. Is like you want to be the best. You got to kind of like learn from the best. You have to like look at the best. So I always kind of like learn and pick and choose what I want to kind of take away from everybody that's successful in the sport. So I'm definitely one of those that like I want to continue to grow. I'm like a growth mindset type of lifter. So I feel like I always had like strength. I was always good at squat, bench, powerlifting, whatever. But like it was one of those things. I'm like at every chance I get to learn to grow, especially from like people that are the best out there in the world. Like I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna pick their brains. Like I'm at competitions. Like I'm so serious. I will like finish a meet, and I'll go in the audience and watch, and I'll just kind of make mental notes in my head for like what I think people are doing well, and I'm like, okay, how can I incorporate that into my training? So always growing, always learning, and just like being and taking away like um just like taking what's the word I'm looking for? I guess motivation, I guess, or whatever from like other people, like just like seeing other lifters be successful and do well and set crazy records, it like hypes me up. I'm like, damn, okay,
Yeah,
me
man.
next.
Yeah,
It's
just
like
taking that inspiration from each and every individual.
exactly. So like I draw inspiration from like different avenues or whatever. But I definitely have people that I look up to. I have my competition to like get me excited about working hard and all that stuff. And then whenever I do a competition and then I feel like I didn't do my best or I feel like I could have done better, that also motivates me as well to like want to go do my next meet and then blow my performance out the water. So I'm usually pretty motivated whenever I'm like, especially whenever I'm like getting ready for a competition.
Yeah, I love hearing that though. Like I kind of call it like that sponge mentality. Do you know what I mean? Like you want to soak up everything, the environment, the people, the information, the coaches. You just want to soak it all up, and you just kind of want to bathe in it, and just kind of you just envelop yourself in that world. And I love hearing you talk about that, man, because it's again, it's going back to that whole success leaves clues, and it's like talking to people that have been doing this for like 10, 20, 30, 40 years, at the world class level. And they're doing all the same shit that you're doing. It's taking that time, being humble and saying, okay, yeah, I've done my 3 lift meet, I'm absolutely shagged, but I'm here anyway. Why not spend the next 2 hours just sitting down, getting rehydrated, eating my meals, and like you said, making that mental note of everyone. What shouldn't I be doing? What should I be doing more of? Okay, that's how he's working, that's how she's working. Oh shit, his squat went up that much and he's been doing this. Oh, okay, maybe I'm gonna try that. Like it's so interesting, because I feel like it's that whole thing of, okay, you can do it, but you just got to put the time in, and like you're a perfect example of that. At every avenue, you haven't taken the shortcut, you haven't skipped out on this or skipped out on that. It's like, okay, well, I want to be better, so I need to spend more time doing that. And it's that whole kind of like 10,000 hour thing, isn't it? It's like the more you're in it, the more you're around it, it just becomes like natural. And I think that's kind of where you exude that confidence from, because you've just enveloped yourself in this world for so long that you're like, man, it's like breathing to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just in and out. It's just motion.
Exactly. And yeah, it definitely becomes a part of who you are. Exactly. But whenever you feel like you've taken all the right steps, you've done all the right things you're supposed to do, like you know, you have no choice but to be confident in yourself. Like you're not gonna be feeling very confident whenever if in the back of your mind, like, damn, I shouldn't have drank that 6 pack last night. That might have fucked you. But like if you got plenty of sleep, you got plenty you ate the right food, you trained hard, you deloaded properly, like whatever. Like you did the right thing. So like you had nothing in the back of your mind like to like kind of hold you back or to like make you feel less confident because like at the end of the day, like I have no idea what the fuck I was supposed to do. So I'm approaching the platform and it's like, yo, I'm at my best. If you can beat me at my best right now, then kudos to you. But like I know I did what I was supposed to, so I'm ready to go. So if you're not doing those things, you're gonna be thinking back in your mind like, damn, I shouldn't have done this because then that might have fucked me up. So it all plays a part, man. It's like you want to try to control as many things as you can. Like those little things like matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's that whole kind of like no excuses mentality, isn't it? It's like, okay, it's on you. You're the one lifting. You're the one up there. You're the one that has to get in the gym. You're the one that has to eat right. You're the one that has to get 8 hours of sleep. Like, it's not on any other motherfucker out there apart from you to do it. Which is why, you know, when you get the gold, it's like, okay, that was 100% you. Like, that's why it's so sick. You know what I mean? There's no one else up there. You lifted those weights. You hit that total. You hit that world record. That's yours, man. Right? What I finish up the show the same with everyone else, and I'm really, really interested to ask you this question. So, for a second, Charles, I want you to imagine that you are stepping into a time machine. You're going back in time to visit your younger self. You're 10, 11, 12 years old. You know, you've got all of this experience to go through. You get to spend a few minutes with yourself. You get to impart a bit of wisdom, a knowledge, a mantra, a way of living your life. Like, what information do you give your younger self to help you get through all of the shit you've had to get through in your life so far, all those hurdles, all those boundaries, to keep on excelling to get to where you currently are now? What do you say?
Number one, I'm gonna tell my old self, learn how to deadlift sooner. Because that is my kryptonite out of all three. Like, it's getting better, but again, like in football, we didn't care about deadlift at all. So, you know, I cared about my squat, I cared about my bench. I was like, forget deadlift. I would like skip deadlift sometimes. So I would definitely let my old self know. It's like, nah, man.
Deadlift from day one, dude.
It's like that shit's important, man. That's what wins meets. Learn how to fucking deadlift. So I would definitely tell my old self that, like, right off the bat. And also, like, let me see. Like, that's a tough question, man. Definitely, like, I don't know, like, enjoy, like, every, like, little thing. Because, I mean, there's a lot of things that I guess I kind of took for granted that, like, as you get older, you, like, kind of think back, you're like, oh, shit, man. Like, I'm either never going to do that again, or, like, you know, like, I'm too old for that shit, like, whatever. So definitely, like, cherish, like, every little, like, victory, or, like, every little thing a little bit more. Because especially, like, you know, when you're growing up, you want to be a grown up. You want to grow up so fast, man. And then you're like, oh, man, like, you know, and then,
I'm
like,
here and now I've got to pay fucking tax. Woo!
yeah, it's like, you know, enjoy the things that you can enjoy now, because as you get older, man, like, you're gonna miss those things. Like, so I would definitely tell myself that, and just, you know, definitely, like, just yeah, I think those are the main things, because I mean, I feel like I've been on the right track, like, for most of my life, as far as, like, what I've been doing. Kryptonite, deadlift, man, get that shit up. That's like the biggest thing.
But hey, man, if you've just got to work on your deadlift, that's a pretty fucking good place to be, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, hey, for me, I got to work on my squat, bench, and deadlift to get anywhere close to where you are, and I probably naturally weigh twice as much as you do, so it's it's a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that little perfectionist inside of me just, like, kind of keeps going. But yeah, man, like, and you know, I had good role models around me. I had good parents. I've always had my head in the right places. So I feel like I did a lot of, like, things right for the most part. Um, so hey, no regrets, man. It's like every little thing that I did shaped me to who I am right now. So,
dude, I couldn't agree more, and what a fucking beautiful way to end the podcast, man. That is absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for coming on board, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. After all of this COVID shit is over, we cannot wait to see you back on stage, man. I know you're working hard. I know there are going to be some big numbers in the tank. So all the best to you, man, because we're going to be watching and we're going to be rooting for you.
thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show. This is a fuck ton of fun. Definitely looking forward to do it again in the future. So yeah, man, we gotta do it again.